And so we'll deal with each of these items immediately after we hear the deputation. So the first deputation relates to item 9.1, which is protecting Fairham's town centre from antisocial behaviour. And this deputation is from Mike Smart. So, Mr. Smart, if you'd like to come forward, so you've been shown how it all works, and you've got up to 10 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Mike Smart. I'm the area manager for First Port. We are currently the managing agent for residents at Home Fair House. It was felt that a few weeks ago that when we attended the meeting, there were a number of issues with some of the homeless in and around the estated area of our place. Since then, it would be fair to say and positive to say that things have got a lot better. Residents generally feel that there's been a marked improvement. I think the concerns that we have, and the residents have, would be going forward, what have we got in place that we can keep this momentum going? But overall, we requested that the bench was removed. That was done. I think there's been one or two incidents that both of those have been dealt with quite swiftly, and things are generally positively felt around the development that it has improved. So from us, it's a huge thank you for taking that forward. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed for your support. So we're now going to move to that item, and I have two councillors who've asked if they can address us on this matter. That's Councillor Trott and Councillor Cunningham. So first I'm going to ask Councillor Cartwright, whose portfolio this is, to introduce the item. In the meantime, if those two councillors would like to come forward, and then you can be ready to speak as soon as it's been introduced. So, Councillor Cartwright.
Thank you very much. So really, the purpose of this paper is to develop a plan to manage antisocial behaviour in the Fairham Town Centre, including consideration of the powers available to the Council under Section 59 of the Antisocial Behaviour Crime Policing Act 2014, which allows local authorities to make a public spaces protection order. If we then look at the executive briefing paper, really with what paragraph 1 says, which is very important, is Fairham is a safe place to live, work and visit. Crime rates in the town centre of the borough are low. Begging, street drinking and taking drugs and rough sleeping are becoming increasingly prevalent in Fairham Town Centre and are having a detrimental impact on the quality of life for residents, businesses and visitors. The Council and Police have received complaints from members of the public, local residents and local businesses about begging, street drinking, taking of drugs, rough sleeping, etc. And the locations are shown on Appendix A from the maps. And these areas include Westbury Museum and Gardens, Trinity Church and Gardens, Memorial Gardens, Bath Lane Recreation Ground, the Post Office, Bank Lobby, Shop Doorways, the Central Gardens, the Gillies, Woodland Area, public toilets and car parks. And really, when you talk to some of the information provided, you can see the bullet points there. It talks about feel intimidated entering the bank lobby, by children scared of a group of rough sleepers. We walk past the front of the post office because see vomit, human excrement, and piles of used syringes on the floor. Rough sleepers urinate on the shutters in the business, smash the windows. Rough sleepers are sleeping in the car park. And first thing in the morning you can see blood-filled used syringe. You can see blood-filled used syringes next to them, and so on. And obviously there is a public health risk in its use when blood-stained syringes are left in public places. The Council as a whole work in partnership with police, probation, integrated offender management, community rehabilitation company, etc., and substance misuse. So we work with a lot of partners, and of course as the chairman of the Fairham Community Safety Partnership, it's very important that we do work as a partnership to try and solve all of these problems. We also work in partnership with two saints to support people who are homeless or threatened with homelessness. And two saints offer help to support with a range of issues such as finances and budgeting support, accessing medical services such as GPs, dentists and so on, developing literary skills and life skills. And then if we go on to the sort of practical measures, there are a number of proposed measures to ensure that all aspects of antisocial behaviour are tackled. These include, and I won't read them all out, but really reviewing the security of council property, designing out crime, working with local businesses, reviewing the effectiveness of local supported housing provisions, and so on. So if we then move on to the public spaces protection order, really it's all about, and it can only be satisfied if activities that are carried out in the public place or have had or will have a detrimental effect on the quality of life of those in the locality, and B, the activities are persistent or continuing and are reasonable, and restrictions imposed by the order are justifiable. And then the PSPOs provide police and other officers with additional powers to tackle antisocial behaviour. Paragraph 12 talks about penalties involved in that situation. So the first step of the process, which is probably the most important thing which we're talking about tonight, is the period of public consultation. Because we as a council must listen to the views of residents, businesses, the Chief Officer of Police, Police Crime Commissioner and the Isle of Wight. So really that's where we are at the moment. We feel that Southampton City Council have recently been successful in obtaining a PSPO, and I think that perhaps as a consequence we've seen an increase in the number of rough sleepers from neighbouring cities. So if we then look at Appendix A, that shows the map of where we're proposing to put the public space protection orders. And if we then look at Appendix B, which is quite a cool paper, that really talks on the second page about the consultation groups and various questions that we need to ask. So going back to the recommendations, we are actually saying that, on a piece of paper, there we go, that the executive considers the evidence within this report, approves the introduction of a range of control measures, and approves the commencement of a consultation process to ascertain public views of making a public space protection order. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Clara. Just one clarification first. The drinking in public places order, which we have, which is borough-wide, I understand that will cease to have any effect next year.
Yes, that's correct. That finishes actually in March 2017, and that's why we've moved into today.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Mrs. Trott, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening. As you are well aware, I'm Councillor for Fareham East, which takes in a very large part of the town centre, and I have received a number of complaints about the situations that have been described here, which I have passed on to both police and to Marinda Baines, and these have been very well described. And in that respect, I am very happy with what is being proposed here, but I think it falls short, and I don't quite know how we're going to deal with it. There are about 8 to 10 persistent people who choose not to engage with the various agencies who do a good job. We've got an outreach worker, 2 saints do a good job at 101, and my question is, what do we do with those who may very well be given a £100 fine, leading up to a £1,000 fine, and will have no means of paying for it? I've had extensive conversations with our community safety officer and with our homelessness officer, senior housing officer options, and I'm wondering if we look at the page 21, top of page 21, members, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, reviewing the effectiveness of local supported housing provision. We do have supported housing provision for those who wish to engage. Mr. Slattery, Mr. Smart, I do beg your pardon, I was reading the wrong thing, said that he's concerned that there will be the energy to continue engaging with the agencies. And I'm wondering, have we got any possibility of providing some more accommodation? Perhaps only as a day centre. When I've spoken with the more sensible and not inebriated members of the homeless community, they have said they just want somewhere to be able to go. They have pointed out that there are various places with room, with areas to let. They even mentioned Avalon House with 2 floors to let. I'm not saying that that's the answer. I'm just posing the question that, yes, I can see that this is going to be effective in many respects, but how do we deal with those who won't have the money to pay for this? And how could we not do something to help those who gather because they've got nowhere to go? And 101 is full most of the time. And those are the questions that I'd like to pose. But you know, all in all, I support this, especially as Mrs. Baines pointed out that the PCS, the Public Spaces Protection Order, would be a last resort. And finally, public consultation. Many of the people who are most concerned are elderly, not all of whom have access to online stuff. And we do a lot of consultations on that. Could we have something in libraries, or at the very least, could these consultations be sent out to places, to the managers of places such as Home Fair House, Moresby Court, Tiverton House, which are older people's residences? Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. The report before us outlines antisocial behaviour within the town centre, associated with homeless people, alcohol, drugs, a small number of beggars who are undermining the quality of life of local residents. The problem needs attention, I accept that. However, I wish to make it very clear that Fareham Town Centre is not a disorderly place. I walk through Fareham most days, mornings, afternoons, late at night, and I consider the town centre to be a safe place to be. It can be loud at times, but generally speaking, it is a safe environment. Any action that needs to be done should be measured, designed to ensure that the steps put in place protect the quality of life of local residents, but also protect the vulnerable people who are part of the problem. I find it difficult to believe, and I do question why good old community policing cannot resolve this matter. And perhaps somebody could explain to me why that is the case. Our problem, if we are enacting, then we must recognise those who are vulnerable from those that are not. And we must not simply migrate a problem from one area to another. That is foolish, time-consuming, and very unproductive. The problems out there in the community are not just one of the town centre. These problems can be found in areas stretching beyond it. We need a plan which critically identifies the vulnerable, a plan which sets apart those who set out deliberately to make mischief, and from those who struggle for one reason or another in life. A plan that actually delivers solutions to residents and to those vulnerable persons who are clearly in need of support. I'm not sure that the Protection Space Order does that in a clear and precise manner. We need to spell out clearly what the Protection Order is to achieve. There shouldn't be any vague definitions which will make up the order with regard to what public behaviour will generate a fixed penalty fine. Begging, public drinking, drug taking, and people who live rough create huge social issues. As a society, we have a duty of care towards those people. I'm looking for some reassurances that any operational system used to police that zone will have check guards to protect the vulnerable people and not criminalise them. Begging is overwhelmingly driven by need rather than greed in most cases, though I do accept some people out there do make a living from it. If we are to support a protection zone within the centre of Fareham, then I want to see some safeguards to ensure that vulnerable people are dealt with in the right manner and not simply provided with an enforcement ticket to move on. Could the officers give me those reassurances that I'm looking for? We need to tackle the underlying causes and not the symptoms. Not criminalise vulnerable people, and that's what I'm concerned about. Begging and rough sleeping are the result of hardship. and is both ridiculous and counterproductive to slap society's most vulnerable with criminal records and fines they can't possibly pay or even understand in some cases. The problems with the town centre, as I said, in my book, can be sorted by good old-fashioned policing, and I'd like to know why that is not the case. The police do have powers, they can act, they have the skills, and they have the training above all else. They have access to channels that open doors to other agencies to come in and deal with individual needs. I know some will argue that the police are not social workers. However, policing today needs to reflect the modern world we live in. If inaction is down to resources, and I would like to ask whether that is the case, then as a council I believe we should be writing to our policing crime commissioner and asking for more resources. The protection zone should not impact on vulnerable people, and that all agencies will continue to support those vulnerable people. And I'm sure, and I'd like to say that I know we have some very good networks out there. Processes and training will be put in place to help those who are policing the zone to identify the vulnerable and spell out clearly how each group should be tackled. That such measures will not move one problem to another area. And if it does, are we going to take action to make sure we resolve that issue? And I'll say, if it's down to resources, could we not ask for more policing in the town centre before we go down this route? Thanks very much.